TAQ Capital. Technical analysis quickly.
This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Before taking any action based on the information provided on this channel, it is recommended that you seek the advice of a professional licensed financial advisor.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm going to take a quick look today at Cosmos, or Atom. And this is a request from one of you guys out there, so shout out to Darren. And I'm going to just dive right in. We see here, we've been in this wedge since June 18th with our first hit here, second hit here, third hit here, fourth hit here. And then it's been just kind of lingering, waiting to go out. So this might very well be our first attempt at breaking this wedge and going down. However, because it's gotten such an enormous bounce off of here, due in part to Bitcoin's performance, it's possible that we're looking at something else. And now let me clarify here. First off, if you back up, you can see that this red line goes straight across, and it's made two attempts. You know, basically once it passed it here, it's shot past it. Now it's going back up, and this is acting as resistance because it got rejected. There it came down, and now it went back up here, got rejected, and now it's making another attempt at it. Hasn't quite hit it yet, but this is resistance, so this could push it down, which ultimately will result in the breaking of the green wedge. That's what I think will happen. However, let's look more into it. What else could be the case, because of just how far it came out here, we might actually be looking at an entire shift in the wedge, because if we change to that, then we have first hit, second hit, third hit. So then we've got to get a fourth hit now off way up here. So this might actually break through this resistance. So that's the red flag that I pick up on right here. So now I'm going to go see if I can look at anything else to confirm that that might be the case. Okay, so this is a different chart of Cosmos here with the Fibonacci lines, all these lines, diagonal lines going down, drawn in it. If you compare the green wedge we were just looking at to the yellow wedge here, this is just a different color, you can see that we have the same overhang here. And this is the one that may be changing the layout of the wedge, because for now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're expecting a breakout down here. And we want to know if this is the bounce, okay? To do that, we create another wedge within it. And you can see that here, it's the red wedge that runs across like this and like this. And that was not a straight line, but you get the point. We've got our first hit here, second hit here, third hit here, fourth hit here, and now it's going back up. So this, if this played out, and this really is 4 hits, this is a second confirmation that this is just essentially a death throw, and it's going to go over, maybe a double bounce, and come out. So that supports the narrative that this action here is not changing the yellow wedge. If we zoom in, as of yesterday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is when it bottomed out. So it broke out of the yellow wedge. This is the 3-minute chart, so this is not, I mean, I just zoomed in so I could see more candles, okay? And we had our bottom out here. Then we had our second hit here. And then we had our third hit here. And it actually misses right here. And this is our fourth hit, if I'm seeing that correctly. Let me confirm that. Sorry, no, zooming in, this is the hit, this is the miss. So looking at that again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we've done this miss, and it just is going over. So we're working our way down to the bottom of this white wedge, okay? At least that's what it's showing us. So let's drag this further over and see where it's going. So it's continuing to go up from its last hit over here, but with no discernible reasoning behind it. So it's just carrying on, probably riding the coattails of Bitcoin's death throw. So if you haven't seen my Bitcoin updates, go check those out. That'll make more sense to you when you do. If I zoom out to the 1-hour chart, this is that same white wedge, and you can see that instead of coming down and doing that, it's swooped up. It's also approaching this blue dotted line. If we zoom out, you can see that the blue dotted line starts, it's running down like this on both sides. This is the downward channel we've been in since way back here. So we had our hit, and then our second hit, third hit, fourth hit, and now we've made our way over to the other side. So it's actually challenging resistance right now, the blue dotted line that goes back to January 17th. So this is well established, and you can see it runs down this Fibonacci line, this gray line right here. So let's zoom in on that. So it's managed to squeeze past the Fibonacci and is being rejected by the resistance of the channel, which looks to be, again, parallel with the Fibonacci. So essentially that's probably just another Fibonacci line. I haven't drawn it out that far though. So while it's gone through the one, it hasn't gone through the other, and it could get rejected back down below this line, below the Fibonacci, and this will just constitute as a wick and all-around rejection before it comes back down, which would make sense, sticking with the narrative that we're going to break down out of the yellow wedge here, and we're going to break down out of the red wedge here. Now let's jump to two of my favorites, the Ichimoku cloud, which is comprised here of the Tenkin, the green line, and the Kijin, the red line, as well as the white smoky mist that is the Bollinger Bands, and see if we can get more answers there. Again, on the daily, you can see that the Tenkin and the Kijin have come together. The Kijin is holding straight, but if you look closely, you can see that the Tenkin is standing up a little bit, and while the Kijin is going straight, which is kind of creating a mouth. Now this is a subtle mouth, because look how much I had to zoom in to really be able to see that. But when this stands up, it starts to call the candles down into this space. Now granted, this is not a very big space, so this might just be the beginning of a multi-day, possibly over the next week, move where you're going to see more of this type of action. So this might be tomorrow, whereas this is the next day, and then this is the next day, and then this is the next day, while the Kijin continues to go straight, and this makes this big mouth. In the process, the candles will get called down into it, which is going to bring you back down to the $11.05 mark, so right around 11 bucks. So that's one possible scenario. But let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. See, on the 4-hour chart, these have stayed together, gone up together, and now they're starting to split. So over the next, few candles, I would imagine you're going to see something play out like this, which is then going to start calling these candles back down here. So in the short term, similar situation. We're talking about coming down to the $11 markish. Kind of jumping up here, the 5-hour, the 6-hour, the 7-hour. These are all staying relatively around the same area. So very low $11. And this is just adding to the narrative that these candles are going to start coming back down to it. Nothing's really changing as I look through here to be an opposite indicator as to everything I just said. So I would count in the immediate short term on something like this, return this way, maybe another challenge of the yellow, maybe even a temporary breakthrough, and then it could possibly bounce back in again, and that might be what takes us out of the blue. Often what happens here, when these candles have been in channels for this long, like I said, the blue dotted line is dating back to January, you actually get a first attempt at breaking this line here. And then it'll get rejected, come down, and then make a second attempt down here, and then do a breakout, if in fact the direction it's headed is up like that. Now all we really know is that we know it'll break out this side of the downward channel, but that could be a flop like this, it could be straight up, it could be out more like that. Technically it could be an instant flop and do something like this. All it means is we're going to break out this side. And the Ichimoku cloud is really going to start giving us some answers as things unfold. Because right now you start jumping out to the 5-day and the 6-day. Let me clear this up a little bit. You can see that the Tenkin is down here, the Kijin is up here, and the Tenkin is actually turning towards the Kijin. And again, this is on the 6-day. So this is kind of swooping these candles here up towards the Kijin. But it's not like it's standing straight up, the Tenkin. Like it's not trying to almost come up underneath this candle and push it up, which you do see play out quite frequently actually. So nothing here is terribly bullish, but it's not really bearish either. I mean, whenever the Tenkan is below the Kijun, it indicates that we're in a bear market, but that's no surprise to anybody. If we jump out to like the 3-week, we've got 4 candles here that are green. So that's 12 weeks of bullish activity. Again, this wedge started on June 18th. So to me, I say it's about time that we get into some more bearish action. So, you know, this week might fizzle down here. This candle could fizzle down to more of a wick, or even possibly turn red by the end of the week. And then we start to head down again. And it might be on the other side of this blue channel line, but as of right now, it's looking like we're getting rejected, and it could just be another drop down before we break out. And at this point, we'll assess the situation as to where it's going. But with everything that's going on in the stock market, everything that's going on with Bitcoin, we're looking at some serious bearish activity. So I will keep checking back with Cosmos in the short term, just so I can give you guys ideas on making short-term swing trades, and you know, throw a short at it, throw a long at it, and make a few bucks here and there. But for now, short term, I see a solid 8% move to the down side here, and then we can reassess the situation at that point. But I do think we're going to be looking at a challenge at the yellow and possibly even a challenge at the red for more of a almost 12 to 15% move. So I mean, like on KuCoin, for instance, you know, you can do 3x leverage there quite easily. But on any of these exchanges, really, you can get into the 10x leverages without getting into the futures, which is 100x leverage. So, I mean, if you're doing a 5x out there, 10x personally scares the crap out of me. But if you're doing like a 5x, you know, you're talking 75% move here. So this can really affect your portfolio, even though it doesn't look like it's that far. So thanks, Darren, for the request. Anybody else has any requests, please feel free to leave a comment down below, send me an email, or hit me up on any of the socials, and I will try to get to those. I think I'm going to move on to a pirate video. I have to think about what other ones I want to do, but I'll get some different stuff up there. Definitely need to get an Ethereum up because that's been a little while now. But thanks for watching. That's it for me now. Like, share, and subscribe. Check out my socials in the description below, and have a great day, guys.